partitive.
Okay, so you have 24 pieces of candy.
Sam has 24 pieces of candy.
And he wants to share them with 3 friends.
He wants to share them with 3 friends because he's a very generous young man. Yes.
So you give 1, 1, and 1, and 1.
So you give 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you until you run out.
Yeah.
That's partitive division. Do we like partitive division in this class?
Love it.
We don't. It's the most common thing in your books, and you'll have to teach it, and it's what kids usually think of when they think of division. They think of partitive division. However, partitive division is not what? What's the model we're going to use? Just like we used repeated addition for multiplication, we're going to use
Repeated subtraction.
repeated subtraction. Is partitive division also repeated subtraction?
No,
It is not. Why not?
because you can't divide.
This is
24
candy,
candies by 3 people.
and if you're dividing by 3 people, as soon as you subtract your first people, you will be subtracting 3 people from 24 candies. We don't know how to do that. So typically, people solve partitive division problems without the context. They say 24 divided by 3 is 8, and therefore each person will get 8 candies. But they don't actually go through repeated subtraction because it doesn't work. You all got to this age probably not knowing that, because context is removed always when people do partitive division, and then they reintroduce the context at the end when they have an answer. But they don't show every step as meaningful because it isn't. However, Sam, what's your second problem?
So you have 24 pieces of candy,
So we're back with 24 candies.
and you want to see how many people you can give 3 pieces of candy to.
So 24 candies divided by 3 candies. So my story is I have 24 candies and I want to give 3 candies to as many people as possible. How many people will get candy? Now when we subtract from the first person, we're going to be subtracting 3 candies from 24 candies. Quotative division is repeated subtraction. So we will always use a quotative story problem context whenever we divide in this class. We divide whole numbers, divide decimals, divide common fractions. Our story problem context will always be quotative, okay? So it's always going to be the same label for the divisor and the dividend. That's another way of saying quotative division, okay? All right, so we're not going to need those pieces as it turns out. So we're going to now, did we talk about practicing story problem contexts? Have we done this? This does not look familiar. I saw lots of notes. So this is where we are. Okay. So, oh, don't look at it on your page. I don't know what I have on there. I never know what I showed you and what I didn't. What did I show you? Oh, I showed you some of it. All right.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This summer I'm going to have to spend quite a few hours and totally redo the notes and the answer PDFs, because I don't like what I give you too much stuff in your notes. It's an attempt to be helpful, and it turns out it isn't if you look ahead. Okay? So the best thing to do, honestly, is just take notes on regular paper and then look at your notes along with your PDFs later. That's the people who do the best. That's what their practice is. But I don't know what your best practice is, so you get to choose. You're an adult, and you're an adult learner. Okay. Jessica, it says. Yes. So, use the story problem context of cookies. How many do you have?
4 cookies.
And what does this for mean?
You're subtracting 4 each time, so each.
So you have 4 cookies. What's your desire? To give
4 away.
4 cookies to as many
People.
friends as you can.
Okay.
So you give 4 cookies to one friend. How many cookies do you have left over?
0.
0. One definition of division is to keep subtracting the divisor until you run out. Okay? That's a very good definition of division. It's repeated subtraction if it's quotative, and we just keep giving away the divisor over and over and over again until we run out. So I did a lot of that one. Jessica, would you do problem B all on your own?
Okay. 4 cookies.
Jessica has 4 cookies.
Oh, okay. I have 4 cookies. I want to give 2 of them away.
I want to give 2 cookies to...
My 2 friends.
No, you don't know that. You want to just keep giving away cookies until they run out, but you don't know how many friends.
Oh.
That's the answer.
Got it, okay.
Jessica has 4 cookies and
She wants to give 2 of them away.
2 cookies.
2 cookies.
These have to have the same label. These are cookies, these are cookies.
Okay.
Jessica has 4 cookies. She wants to give 2 cookies to as many friends as she possibly can.
Okay.
All right, so her first cookie, her first friend gets,
2 cookies.
and then she has
2 left.
2 left. So does she have enough to give 2 cookies to another friend?
Yep.
So another friend gets
2 more
2 cookies, and now she has
0 left.
no more cookies. Jessica's very generous, and her friends love her a lot. Okay, is that a question or just hair? Just hair, that's fine. All right. You know what, all it takes is emotion, and it's like you just bid on a $100,000 thing at a, whatever those things are called, auctions. Okay. I'm not so good with nouns, but I do know that dysnomia is the name of the medical issue when you can't remember nouns.
You have
Okay.
dysnomia?
I have dysnomia. So do you, when you get to a certain age. You all have it at some point. Some of you have it already. You're early, you're, advanced.
Isn't dysnomia a noun though?
Pardon?
Isn't dysnomia a noun?
It is, and that's what's meant to be ironic.
Yes, I think that's
And
fine.
I know what irony is. Even though it's also an abstract noun. I know. You guys are not taught any grammar, are you? It's not part of your background. Most of you don't have any knowledge of compound objects of a preposition and gerunds and all that stuff, right? No.
We learn it by reading,
Ah, does it work
for some of us.
to learn it by reading? Okay, so which is correct, just between you and me or just between you and I? Have a conversation at your table. I used to ask this as a serious question in an interview when I was hiring people.
Between you and me. because
Just
if
between
take
you
the
and me or
out,
just
can
between
still
you
say
and
me
I?
And it makes sense.
I say between you and me. Totally wrong.
Because you wouldn't say
If you
according
take out
to
an
I.
I, that's a serious issue with your children. If you take out an I, that's bad, it's bloody, and it's
Technically, grammar is
horrible.
abstract, so you could say both. Just saying.
All right, Taylor, what do you think?
How did you know?
You can see it.
God.
I don't really know.
Don't really know, okay? So what sounds best to your ear?
It's between you and me.
Just between you and me. How many of you agree with Taylor? Okay, hands down, how many of you disagree? Nobody wants to disagree now that they've seen all those other people. But not everybody voted.
Well, yeah, I actually think you and I sounds better. I just think you and me is correct.
You and me is correct,
Yeah.
but you and I is also correct in a different sentence. How could you and I be in a different sentence?
You and I want to go shopping.
Absolutely, because then it's a compound subject, and what is it in just between you and me? It's the compound object of a preposition. Between is the preposition, okay? So your mother probably spoke correct English, or you would not sound that correctly to your ear, okay? Those of us whose mothers spoke great English are much better at conversational grammar than those mothers who didn't, okay? That's why the educational level of the mother who's with the kids lots more than the father on average in most families the first 5 years actually determine how they speak. I had a secretary who said we was and I seen, and she could tell you on a grammar test what the correct answers were, but her normal speaking, because her mom was not educated, she said we was and I seen. Okay? That's just another story. Okay. Did I tell you guys yet that the quiz is going to be Thursday instead of Tuesday after spring break?
Oh, thank goodness. Robert.
Because
What
I
a
got on my
stress level.
fastest horse with the last class and I rode till I about killed the horse and it didn't work, okay? So we kind of almost got to exactly where we'd have to get to in order for us to take the quiz on Tuesday after, and they are ahead of you, and so I knew that it would be foolish for me to keep the quiz there. So we're moving it. The test will still be on the date it's on. We will be able to finish lesson 16 by next Thursday. And so we're gonna spend a little more time on lessons 15 and 16, and everything is gonna get shoved back one in terms of the lessons, but all of the other due dates, all of the other quizzes are where they are until further notice, okay? I actually built an extra calendar day into this year's calendar. I used to do it differently, but I've always been struggling at the end of fractions to get it all in. So I added a day, instead of doing a review for the final, it's a regular class. It's actually your test 3. So I think I have enough time to do this. What it does mean is we're using the time now instead of on fractions. So I will be on my horse for fractions because there's a whole lot to do for test 3, because it's the hardest math and there's a whole lot of concepts that we have to do for fractions. And if you don't like fractions now, I promise you, you'll have a much better understanding of them, and some of you will like them by the end of the semester. It's really my favorite thing. I taught 5th and 6th grade for so many years. I taught multiplication, division, and fractions. We're in my wheelhouse now, okay? Counting is not my strength. And I would have said not my fort, but some of you would have corrected me to say not my forte, right? Forte means loud, fort means strength. Spelled the same way. Who knew?
Us now.
What?
Us now.
Us now, thank you.
I thought forte meant like with strength. So
That's fort. Absolutely, yeah, it's spelled F-O-R-T-E, but it's pronounced fort. If you pronounce it forte, you mean loud. If you pronounce it fort, you mean strength. Spelled the same way, isn't it? But as soon as you tell somebody that, they will mostly correct you and tell you you're wrong. So I usually don't, unless I have time to explain the whole thing.
It's like a Tiffany problem.
It's a Tiffany problem?
Yeah, because like Tiffany's a classic name from the Middle Ages, but people, if you ever use that, people will think that you're wrong because it sounds so modern. It doesn't sound like an old name.
Tiffany as a name from Old English or
Well,
something?
it's actually from the Byzantine Empire.
The Byzantine Empire. Woo-hoo! You're really going fluting on us, highfalutin.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I love the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah. Queen Teophana.
Okay, Tiffany. Yeah, okay.
Wow.
Empresses.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar is what I'm thinking for the first thing.
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, you go with the Babylonian emperor who
Yeah.
kidnapped the Jewish people.
Yeah,
Nebi, little Nebi.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
probably
do you
behind,
like base
but-
60? The Babylonians introduced us to base 60.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's
Yeah.
and practical.
So do you guys know where the Babylonians influenced us tremendously?
What?
Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah. Base 60 is what we use for 360 degrees in a circle, 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute. So the Babylonians had huge impact on us.
I just love saying that as
All
a
right.
threat to my wife.
So back to math. When I was a classroom teacher, I always did this also. I shot myself in the foot, and once everybody was screaming and climbing on the walls, I noticed, oh, I did this. You might also, it all depends on your relationship with your kids. We had fun. We always got everything done that needed to be done, but we had fun along the way. All right. Problem C. What's the story problem for problem C? Jenny.
So Robert has 4 cookies, and
You don't want to be Jenny?
No.
He has okay, Robert has 4 cookies.
and he wants to see,
He wants to
he
give.
wants to give one of them to as many people as possible.
He wants to give 1 cookie to as many friends as he can.
So he gives 1 to 1 friend.
And that would be Jenny, because she's really sweet. So you make me give the cookies, I get to say who I'm giving them to, don't I?
So that leaves him with 3 cookies.
Yes.
So he gives another cookie to another friend.
And who's his other friend?
Bill.
Bill, okay. Bill's feeling special now.